Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our live again. So today we're going to do a little different format of a live session. Normally we have interviews with artists or art consultants or interior designers, whoever is involved in the world of producing art to getting the art in the right hands of the right collector. Like those are the people we've been interviewing and trying to listen to their stories. Today, I'm going to give you a little sneak preview of our upcoming art fair, which is in New York City from the 22nd to the 25th of September. You might think, why are we so excited? It's because it's our first art fair and we're participating with 7 different artists of ours. Our gallery has grown over the last 3.5 years into a gallery of representing more than 120 artists, out of which they're all based in 5 or 6 different countries in Latin America. We have had exhibitions here in Washington, D.C., and also in Seoul, South Korea, my hometown. But now we're going to New York City, and it will be our first international big art fair that we're participating in. We're very excited. And to give you a little bit of sneak peek of some of the artists that will be participating in our art fair, we'll dedicate this live session into presenting 3 of those artists out of the 7 that are going to New York City with us. Now, if you're going to be in New York City and want to actually see the artwork in person, feel free, don't feel shy, feel free to reach out to us and we're more than happy to talk, to show you the artwork, a little bit of preview, and also how we can meet and greet and talk more about art while we are in New York City. So the first artist I'm going to present is Ana Vanessa Urbina. I'm actually looking at the back of our wall because these are the 3 artists that I'll be presenting today. Coincidentally, now I'm looking at it and they're all Venezuelan artists, originally from Venezuela, now all living in different countries also. Interesting. So the first artist I'm going to talk about is Ana Vanessa Urbina, who is the artist of this beautiful painting right there. Ana Vanessa Urbina was born and raised in Caracas, Venezuela. She is actually very, very well educated and highly academically trained. Why is that important? It means she's very knowledgeable of art theory, and how she produces her artwork is very meticulous. It's based on a lot of theory, and that's one of her strong pieces. She studied art, listen to this, she studied art in Universidad Central de Venezuela, which is one of the best universities in Venezuela, School of Fine Arts. Then she studies in Spain a master's in fine arts and art production and visual arts. She studies at the Costa Rica School of Fine Arts in San Jose, theoretical and practical diploma of creation of artist books. And then she finally studies in Columbia University in New York City, where we're going to present her artwork in advanced intensive painting course. Now, she also teaches. She taught for 7 years in the School of Fine Art in designing and teaching classes on Latin American aesthetics and foundation of art criticism in visual arts. She currently resides in Southern Florida. I want to say Miami or Weston. She's in South Florida. She's very active as an artist. I see her having exhibitions all the time. If it's a group exhibition or individual exhibitions. She participated in the Superfine Art Fair this last March. And also, if you're based in Miami and want to see her again, she's going to be in Miami Superfine Art Fair again next year in 2023. So that's a good opportunity to see the artist next year, but this year she's going to be in New York with us. She will be in person in New York City during the Affordable Art Fair with us, 22nd to 25th of September. Now, she had a lot of individual exhibition, and surprisingly, she had exhibitions in China, Spain, of course, many in Venezuela, New York City. We also presented some of her artworks in our exhibitions here in Washington, D.C. And she's like, all of this shows that she's actually really active. And I love working with active artists because by nature of them thinking, producing, and creating more, they try to experiment and work on different techniques. And that's what's really interesting on top of her beautiful artwork of Ana Vanessa Urbina. I'll show you a photo of Ana Vanessa. So this is our beautiful artist. And if you want to read more about her, you can see in our website. I'll show you some of her artwork. So this is a painting called Plantas y Flores, Plants and Flowers. You can see this is a little bigger format painting than the one you see over here. But the color schemes, let's talk about the color schemes. It's a very pretty tropical jungle. And you can see, if you think about it really well, all of these colors, I'll show it to you a little bit more detail. All of these colors that you see in her artwork are actually colors that you would see in a tropical jungle, either through the lighting, the waters inside the jungle, the sunset, the sunrise, the leaves, the flowers. And she actually portrays it in not a very realistical way, but in a abstract way that she kind of digests that tropical landscape, and then she pours it out in a different format. I'll show you another painting of hers. This is a little bit interesting because this one is called Yellow. And I actually thought that kind of looks like all the living animals inside the jungle. And from a different angle, it also looks like a heart, which kind of like was a little surprise element for me when I saw it. Here also, the colors are very like soft and bright. That's a very beautiful aspect of her paintings. This one is also a painting called Plants. And you can see all the leaves, the flowers, the spiky leaves, the big leaves, all of them like intertwined within this painting. And I'll show this one hanging on the wall. So you can see this is a slightly bigger painting itself. So that table is around 2 feet tall, and our couches, if you want to like know, okay, the dimensions more or less, the couches are 7.2 feet long couches that we have on our website. All of these paintings, you can go to our website or like scroll through our Instagram account and you'll see them. Now, on top of her paintings that are on canvas, acrylic on canvas, she has been experimenting with acrylic, she calls it acrylic cases. It's a acrylic sculpture format. It's 3-dimensional. Let me show you. These came with very specific instructions to use these gloves. So that's exactly what I'll do. You'll be surprised at the intricate nature of how these acrylic cases came. So she used wood, acrylic, and cut them into different pieces and formats to create this piece. So you can see that it's not just wood. I'll show it from the side also. She has varying thickness of material that she uses to create this butterfly-looking landscape jungle through acrylic. I thought that was actually really, really creative. And that's one of the things that I love about Ana Vanessa is that she does not cease to innovate in her artwork. So Ana Vanessa is going to be with us. The artist is going to be present at the New York Affordable Art Fair, 22nd to 25th of September. So if you want to see myself and also you want to see Ana Vanessa and talk to the artist in person, we will be there. And the way to know more is to follow our Instagram account or just contact us, DM us, and we'll get in touch with you. Hi, Ana Vanessa, hola. We were just showing your artwork. We will move on to our next artist, who is Ricardo Baez Duarte. Ricardo has a very interesting background, just like his artwork. He actually studied math, and he was a professor of math. Then he went on to, hi Vanessa, he went on to study photography with Lydia Fisher in University of San Diego, I think. This was actually a crucial moment for him because that's when he kind of understood how photography can be used better in artwork. Not just freezing the moment in a realistic way, but actually using the painting as a base, the photography as a base to create an abstract artwork itself. He has presented a lot of his artwork in museums in Caracas and in different cities in Latin America and in the US. He currently resides in Italy with his family. I'll show you some of his artworks that they're all beautiful, but I'll show you some that to me seems interesting. This piece right here is called Sculpture, and it kind of struck me because a lot of his artwork, just like the one that you can see behind me, are very like colorful, a lot of red and a lot of blue. It creates a lot of like, in a way, it stimulates you. But this piece itself is more black and white. And it kind of reminds you of sculptures that are done in steel, like that, like cold texture. It's as if that kind of coldness, but also impactfulness, is packed into this painting itself. Now, his technique is actually using photography and then using Photoshop to create these abstracts. A lot of them are landscape, or it can be internal landscape, meaning it's not a figurative landscape that you paint as nature looks like, but it's what you internalized as an artist, processed and is expressing. So internal landscape can be another word used for Ricardo's artwork. I will show you a different piece here. This one's actually interesting because it's called a homage to Hockney, meaning David Hockney. Hockney was very well known for his paintings using water. You remember the painting that was sold a few years ago for the highest price on auction, A Man in the Pool, reflections in water, or poolside landscape during the time that he lived in LA. That's actually a very recurring theme of Hockney. And these like little square blue squares reminds me of swimming pools and floating around, and many of them that he painted. And this is a homage to Hockney himself. I will then show you actually this painting close by. So this will be one of the pieces that is going to Affordable Art Fair with us. As you can see, like he uses a splash of color onto this kind of, it could look like text, it could like look like a little bit more cold setting, but he actually makes it into very explosive piece itself. Ricardo is actually one of those artists who don't want to present his own story, and that's the reason I tell you this is because a lot of artists don't necessarily want to be in front of a crowd or a camera explaining, this is what I do, this is why I did it. And I actually was listening to a podcast of an artist expressing that whenever someone asks why did you do this, it actually feels very intimidating. It's like, well, why? I have to put it into words, because for them it was kind of like a feeling, something that you couldn't explain with words, that you put on display visually through shapes and colors. And then the crowd is asking, but why? Say it in words. And it's a daunting task. Georgia O'Keeffe actually said this also during an interview, which I think was really, really interesting. So not all artists want to have the joy of explaining their artwork in words. The painting or the artwork was supposed to speak for himself. Now, that does not mean you have to be intimidated. Like, I have to figure out why this artist did this. No, that is not the point of enjoying artwork. The point is for you to look at the artwork, feel whatever you feel related to your story, and that it becomes a piece of you. And then the artwork itself becomes something that represents a piece of you. That's the better way to approach artwork. At least I think so. So now the third artist is Ileana Rincon Cañas, another Venezuelan artist currently residing in southern Florida near Miami. Ileana is from Venezuela. She was born in 1975. She studied advertising and marketing and also has a master's degree of 3D animation in Madrid, Spain. She also has been living in South Florida for more than a decade, worked as a motion graphic designer and a 3D artist for television and different audiovisual media. She exhibited her artwork in the US, Mexico, Spain, and France. We also showed a lot of her artwork here in Washington, and she will be one of the artists that are going to Affordable Art Fair New York with us. Either the artist is going to be there or not, I am trying to convince Ileana to be there with us at New York City. We shall see. If we're all lucky, we'll be there with the artist. She's an amazingly mellow person if you meet her in person, and I love talking with her. But then like you see her artwork and it's very reflective, and also sometimes it has a lot of like energy just going out, and I love that like combination of the artist energy and the art itself. She herself had worked as a photographer. Her husband is a photographer and director as well, so like there's a symbiotic effect of her husband kind of, I'm assuming, being a big pillar and part of her artistic development. And she has 2 children who helps out with the logistics of taking her photos. Now, the thing about her photos is that it's a set photo. Like she creates a setting and then takes a photo, and that's not the whole story. After that, she uses that as a base and then uses Photoshop to create a whole different artwork on top of it. So let me explain what I'm talking about. In case of this artwork, which is called Breaking the Loop, you see Ileana in a field, which is kind of a photo of her, which she must have shot multiple shots of herself. But after that, the crows, the lighting, the darkness and the lighting, the contrast that she created is all something she does post-production. And also the interesting thing about this painting is it's called Breaking the Loop, or this photography, not painting. Every one of Ileana is facing a different direction without much expression in her face, but this one Ileana is actually looking towards the camera and her face is blurred, and it's called Breaking the Loop. In this eerie situation, it's actually a liberating message, which is something that's very impactful for me. The message itself is very hopeful. Here's another piece of hers which uses mirror. Now she uses a lot of mirror in her artwork, which can be a representing of herself or talking about self-identity or reflection. And this piece is actually called In the Loop. As you can see here, there's a little bit of overlap with the Breaking the Loop piece itself, but here you can see that all of them have the mirrors in front of them, kind of, but it's not looking towards them, it's looking outward, as if you're not trying to see what's inside of you, and that's what keeps you inside the loop of your own misery, or whatever it is, or the loop of your thoughts, or at least all of this is my interpretation. You guys might have a better idea, but that's how I process it, and that's the cool part of these artworks. The last one I'm going to show you is called White Dreams. I have this painting here in person as well. So the thing about this piece is, okay, maybe this is not the best angle because of the lighting. It's very pretty. It's dreamy, but your dream is on the floor, right? And your foot is kind of kicking your dreams. If you think of the cloud as your dreams, but you're like looking into the whole situation through a mirror. So it is a reflecting piece, at least for me, of trying to see of how oneself keeps close to their dreams or their goals or their subconscious. And how sometimes we think of it as something that's so like above us that it's not attainable, but actually it's something really close by. And there are moments that we have our dreams or subconscious or our reflections of ourselves on the ground. There are moments of us for that also. So like this whole like dreamy and like calming color palette also has a message of mixed feelings or mixed situations of how you think of your dreams or your goals. I think that's the very interesting piece of this artwork itself. She talks a lot about self-perfection, introspection, intimacy, and concept of her own identity as a mother, immigrant, and a woman. She takes a lot of her photos in nature, which inevitably goes into the dialogue of not only yourself, but you or us as a person living in an environment, and how that is also a interactive, growing situation. You feed into your environment as human beings, but also your environment feeds into you. That's just normal. So her artwork, more recent pieces talk more about the environment, pollution, change of climate, and also the plastics that we use and how they're actually everywhere in the environment and they're like slowly suffocating us. A lot of her newer pieces, if you go check out her Instagram account, has a very environmental message as well, which is a very natural progression of somebody looking into yourself and then looking into your environment and actually seeing, oh, everything that's not healthy that's happening in the environment is impacting us, coming back into us. And she depicts all of that very beautifully in her artwork itself. So if we're lucky, we will have Ileana at our art fair too. So there's good news for you. All of the explanation that I've been doing, if it didn't make sense because I was kind of like going through the stream of my thoughts and how I process these artworks, we have a blog. Go to our website and click on the blog magazine post and you'll be able to see the written text of how the artist's origin and the artist's artwork and their ethos and what they're trying to say in our blog post. For Ileana and Ana Vanessa, we already have those blog posts up. There will be a longer text. You'll be able to easily follow and understand better what the artist is trying to say. In the case of Ricardo, we're almost there. That text should be up in the next week or so. So if you're curious, just stay tuned. Also, you can read a lot about our work and our artist artwork on our Medium post. As you can see, we're covering all grounds in social media. So like go around, click in, or just like type in Arte Original and you'll find us. And before we go, I just want to tell you again, our ethos is be original. We are looking for original artwork in Latin America that can be presented to international clients and collectors. These original artworks are stories and styles that you won't necessarily see in different areas, different art fairs, different galleries. So our ethos is really looking for very original artwork. And we'll be presenting 7 of those artists at New York City's Affordable Art Fair from the 22nd to the 25th of September. 22nd is opening night. That's a Thursday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the whole time the fair will be open from afternoon to all evening. I will be there all 4 days, and our artist Ana Vanessa will be there, and hopefully we'll be able to convince Ileana or some other artist to be there too. But it's a beautiful time to be in New York City. It's a beautiful time to look at artwork. This was a sneak peek of 3 of the 7 artists that are going to Affordable Art Fair with us. We'll do a part 2 to present the rest of the artists, but just follow along and you'll get a better sense of our artists, and we will at one point be announcing our preview. So that's when you'll be able to see the selected ones. We'll be able to see the artwork that we're presenting in New York City at Affordable Art Fair. So I will let everyone go and have their Monday night dinners. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll keep you posted about all our development for our art fair. Have a good night. Bye.